First contact. The alarms blare through the small scout ship as Zara frantically tried to regain control. Warning lights flashed across her console, indicating multiple system failures. She gritted her teeth, fighting against the shuddering of the craft as it plummeted through the atmosphere of the alien world below. Come on, she muttered, her fingers flying over the controls. But it was no use. The ship had taken too much damage from the unexpected debris field it had encountered in orbit. Now gravity had its inexorable hold, pulling Zara down to the unexplored planet's surface. As the ground rushed up to meet her, Zara braced for impact. The ship slammed into the alien soil with bone-jarring force. Metal screamed and tore. Zara was thrown against her restraints, her head whipping forward. Then darkness claimed her. She wasn't sure how much time had passed when consciousness slowly returned. Zara blinked groggily, tasting blood in her mouth. Every part of her body ached. Through the cracked viewscreen, she could see an alien landscape, weird purple vegetation under a green-tinged sky. Then a face appeared, peering in at her. Zara's eyes widened in shock. It wasn't human. The being had grayish-blue skin, large almond-shaped eyes, and strange ridges along its skull. Zara tried to move, to reach for a weapon, but her body wouldn't respond. She could only watch helplessly as the alien pried open the twisted hatch of her ship. More of the beings appeared. They spoke to each other in musical tones Zara couldn't understand. Then strong arms were lifting her, carrying her out of the wreckage. She wanted to struggle, to fight, but the darkness was creeping in again. Her last thought before passing out was that she had made first contact, but it might be her last. When Zara next awoke, she found herself in a strange room. The walls seemed to be made of some sort of pearlescent material that softly glowed. She was lying on a bed-like structure, though it was oddly contoured. Various unfamiliar devices blinked and hummed around her. She tried to sit up, but a wave of dizziness forced her back down. A door slid open and one of the aliens entered. This one was taller than the others she had glimpsed, with elaborate markings on its face and neck. It regarded her with those unsettling large eyes. "Where am I?" Zara croaked, her throat dry. "Who are you?" The alien tilted its head, studying her. Then it spoke, the words strangely accented but understandable. "You are in a medical facility in the city of Zalthora. I am Krell, commander of the Valari Defense Force. And you, strange creature, are quite far from home." Zara's mind reeled. They could speak her language. How was that possible? She had so many questions, but first things first. "Thank you for saving me," she managed to say. Krell's expression was unreadable. "Your gratitude may be premature. You have breached our world's defenses and crash-landed on a restricted area. By our laws, that is an act of aggression." Zara's heart sank. Of course it wouldn't be that simple. "It was an accident," she explained. "My ship was damaged by debris. I had no intention of landing here." "So you say," Krell replied, "but intention matters little. The fact remains that you are here, an unknown alien on our homeworld. That makes you a potential threat." Zara struggled to sit up, ignoring the pain that lanced through her body. "I'm not a threat," she insisted. "I'm an explorer from a planet called Earth. We've been searching for other intelligent life in the galaxy. I never expected to find it like this, but I come in peace." Krell was silent for a long moment, those alien eyes boring into her. "Peace," he finally said, "is a luxury we can ill afford. Our world faces many dangers. We cannot risk trusting an outsider, no matter how peaceful they claim to be." "Then why save me at all?" Zara demanded. "Why not just let me die in the crash?" "Because we are not barbarians," Krell answered, "and because you may yet prove useful. Your ship's technology, while primitive compared to ours, may offer insights. And you yourself are a source of valuable information about your species." Zara felt a chill. "I won't tell you anything that could be used against my people." Krell made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Noble, but short-sighted. We have ways of extracting information, whether you cooperate or not. But it would be easier, and less unpleasant if you choose to work with us willingly. Zara's mind raced. She was in no position to resist, injured and alone on an alien world, but she couldn't betray humanity either. She had to find a way to turn this situation around, to somehow convince these Velari that humans could be allies rather than threats. "I understand your caution," she said carefully. "In your position, I'd be worried too. But there's so much we could learn from each other. Give me a chance to prove that humans and Velari can cooperate. I'll share what I can about my people and our technology, as long as it doesn't compromise our security. In return, I hope you'll teach me about your civilization." Krell studied her, head tilted. "An interesting proposal, but why should we trust you?" Zara met his gaze steadily. "Because I'm putting my trust in you. I'm injured, alone, completely at your mercy. I'm choosing to believe that you're advanced enough as a species to see the value in peaceful exchange rather than conflict." There was a long silence as Krell considered her words. Zara held her breath, knowing her fate, and potentially the future relationship between their species hung in the balance. Finally, Krell spoke. "Very well. We will try your way for now, but know that you will be closely watched. Any sign of deception or aggression will be swiftly punished." Zara let out a relieved breath. "Thank you. I won't let you down." "See that you don't," Krell said. "Rest now. When you have recovered sufficiently, we will begin our cultural exchange." As Krell left the room, Zara sank back onto the bed, her mind whirling. She had come seeking first contact and found it in the most unexpected way. Now she carried the weight of humanity's future on her shoulders. She only hoped she was up to the task. Over the next few days, Zara's strength slowly returned. The Velari medical technology was remarkably advanced, accelerating her healing far beyond what would have been possible on Earth. She was able to move around her room, though she was still confined there under guard. Krell visited her daily, asking questions about Earth and human society. Zara answered as best she could, carefully avoiding any information that might be used for military purposes. In return, she peppered Krell with her own queries about Velari culture and history. She learned that the Velari were an ancient species, having achieved spaceflight thousands of years before humans. But a series of interstellar wars and natural disasters had driven them to isolation, fiercely protecting their homeworld against outside threats. "That's why we reacted so strongly to your arrival," Krell explained. "We've seen too many civilizations destroyed by trusting too easily." Zara nodded, beginning to understand their caution. But surely not all contact with other species has been negative. Krell's expression was hard to read, but she thought she detected a hint of wistfulness. There have been exceptions, but they are rare. As the days passed, Zara sensed a gradual shift in Krell's attitude. His questions became less pointed, more genuinely curious. He seemed fascinated by human art and music, which Zara described as best she could. "I wish I could show you," she said wistfully. "There's so much beauty in human culture." Krell was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Perhaps you can. Your ship's databanks were mostly intact. We've been analyzing them, but much is still encrypted. If you're willing to grant us access, we could experience some of this human art firsthand." Zara hesitated. The ship's computers contained sensitive data, but they also held a wealth of human culture, music, literature, art. Sharing that could be a powerful way to bridge the gap between their species. "All right," she said. "I'll give you access to the cultural database, but the rest stays locked." Krell nodded. "Acceptable. I will have it brought here." The next day, Krell arrived with a Velari device interfaced with Zara's ship computer. As alien music filled the room and images of Earth's greatest artworks flickered on the walls, Zara saw something she never expected, wonder in those alien eyes. It was a small step, but an important one. For the first time, Zara felt real hope that her accidental first contact might lead to something truly remarkable. The journey ahead would be challenging, but as she watched Krell's fascination with human culture, she knew it would be worth it. As they sat there, Two beings from distant stars sharing the universal language of art, the boundaries between them began to blur, and the seeds of understanding, planted in the rocky soil of suspicion, began to take root and grow. The cosmic threat. As the holographic display flickered to life in the Valari command center, Zara felt her breath catch in her throat. The image before her was beautiful, terrifying, and unmistakable. A massive asteroid, its surface pockmarked and scarred, hurtling through space on a collision course with the Valari homeworld. By the cosmic winds, Krell murmured, his normally stoic demeanor shaken. The calculations are certain. A Valari scientist, her skin a pale lavender, nodded gravely. I'm afraid so, Commander. Impact in approximately 30 rotations. Zara's mind raced. 30 rotations, about 45 Earth days. The asteroid was enormous, easily large enough to cause an extinction-level event. She turned to Krell, seeing the weight of an entire civilization's fate in his alien eyes. There has to be something we can do, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Krell's gaze met hers, and for a moment, the barriers between them, human and Valari, prisoner and captor, seemed to dissolve. We've faced threats before, he said, but nothing of this magnitude. Our planetary defense systems are formidable, but they were designed to repel ships, not celestial bodies. Zara's scientific mind kicked into gear. What about your space fleet? Could you intercept it? The lavender-skinned scientist shook her head. Our long-range vessels are scattered across the nearby systems. We couldn't recall enough of them in time. A heavy silence fell over the command center. Zara could almost feel the despair radiating from the Valari around her. But then a wild idea began to form in her mind. What if, she began slowly, we combined our technologies, human ingenuity with Valari advanced science? Krell tilted his head, a gesture Zara had come to recognize as curiosity. Explain. Zara's words tumbled out in a rush of excitement. On Earth, we've developed theoretical models for dealing with this kind of threat. We call it the kinetic impact method. The idea is to hit the asteroid with enough force to alter its trajectory. Our weapons are powerful, Krell said, but not nearly enough to move something of that size. Not weapons, Zara corrected. Ships. We turn your fastest vessels into projectiles. But here's the key. We don't just crash them into the asteroid. We use a series of controlled impacts, carefully calculated to gradually shift its course. The Valari scientist's eyes widened. It could work, but the precision required, it's beyond anything we've attempted. That's where human creativity comes in, Zara said, her excitement building. We're experts at improvising, at finding unconventional solutions. If you can provide the raw power and advanced calculations, I can help design a targeting system that thinks outside the box. Krell was silent for a long moment, his alien features unreadable. Then, to Zara's surprise, he let out a sound that might have been a laugh. You humans truly are remarkable creatures. In the face of impossible odds, you see hope. He turned to the assembled Valari. Prepare our fastest ships, and give Zara access to whatever resources she needs. His gaze returned to her, and she saw something new there, respect, and perhaps a glimmer of something more. It seems the fate of our world now rests in human hands. As the command center erupted into a flurry of activity, Zara felt a mix of exhilaration and terror. She had come to this alien world as an explorer and found herself thrust into the role of savior. The task ahead was daunting, perhaps impossible. But as she looked at Krell, seeing the trust he was placing in her, she knew failure wasn't an option. Over the next few days, Zara worked tirelessly alongside the Valari scientists. She marveled at their advanced technology, far beyond anything humanity had achieved. But she also saw how her outside perspective brought fresh ideas to their approach. They developed a swarm of small, agile drones that would accompany each impact ship. These drones, guided by an AI that combined Valari processing power with human-inspired problem-solving algorithms, would make split-second adjustments to ensure each impact landed with perfect precision. As the deadline loomed closer, Zara found herself spending more and more time with Krell. They worked long hours, poring over simulations and contingency plans. In those intense moments, the lines between them blurred further. She saw past his alien features, recognizing the dedication, intelligence, and even humor beneath. One night, as they took a rare break to watch the twin moons of the Valari world rise, Krell turned to her. "Zara," he said, his voice uncharacteristically soft, "I must confess something. When you first arrived, I saw you as a threat, a potential enemy. But now," he trailed off, seemingly at a loss for words. Zara felt her heart race. "Now," she prompted gently. Krell's large eyes met hers. "Now I see you as the most remarkable being I've ever encountered. Your species may be young, but there is a fire in you, a spirit that refuses to be extinguished. It's inspiring." Zara felt a warmth spread through her that had nothing to do with the alien suns. Krell, I. But before she could finish, an alarm blared through the complex. They rushed back to the command center, where chaos reigned. "Report," Krell barked. The lavender-skinned scientist looked up, her face pale. "The asteroid, it's breaking up. Our latest scans show it's not one body, but a cluster. Our calculations are useless now." Zara felt the blood drain from her face. All their hard work, their carefully laid plans, rendered obsolete in an instant. The room spun around her as the full weight of their failure pressed down. But then she felt a hand on her shoulder, Krell's hand. She looked up to see determination blazing in those alien eyes. "We are not defeated yet," he said, his voice ringing with authority. "Zara, you've shown us the power of human adaptability. Now we need it more than ever. How do we face this new threat?" Zara took a deep breath, steeling herself. Krell was right. This wasn't the end. It was just a new challenge to overcome. Her mind raced, considering and discarding ideas at lightning speed. Then it hit her. "Swarms," she said, a smile spreading across her face. "We don't try to deflect the whole cluster. We use our drone swarms to break it up further, into pieces small enough to burn up in the atmosphere." Krell's eyes widened. "It's risky, if we miscalculate." "Then we keep calculating," Zara said firmly. "We adapt, we improvise, we overcome. That's what humans do best. And now it's what Valari and humans will do together." As they turned back to their work with renewed vigor, Zara felt a surge of something powerful, not just hope, but a sense of unity. Human and Valari, two species from distant stars, working as one to face an impossible threat. The battle for the Valari homeworld was far from over. But in that moment, as alien and human stood side by side, the impossible suddenly seemed within reach. And something new was being forged in the crucible of crisis, a bond that would reshape the galaxy itself. The quantum gambit. The Valari command center hummed with frenetic energy as holographic displays flickered with real-time data on the approaching asteroid cluster. Zara's eyes darted between screens, her mind racing to process the information. Beside her, Krell's alien features were set in grim determination. "The swarm strategy is working," the lavender-skinned scientist, now known to Zara as Syra, reported. "But not fast enough. At our current rate, we'll only break up 60% of the cluster before impact." Zara felt a cold dread settle in her stomach. They were so close, yet still so far from saving this world that had become unexpectedly precious to her. She glanced at Krell, seeing the weight of his people's fate in his eyes. Suddenly, an idea sparked in her mind. Wild, dangerous, but potentially game-changing. "What about quantum entanglement?" she blurted out. The room fell silent, all eyes turning to her. Krell tilted his head, a gesture she now recognized as intense curiosity. "Explain," he said. Zara took a deep breath, organizing her thoughts. "On Earth, We've been experimenting with quantum entanglement for faster-than-light communication. But what if we could use it for more? What if we could entangle our drones with the asteroid fragments? Kazuha's eyes widened. Theoretically possible, but the energy requirements would be astronomical. We have something that could work, Krell said slowly, his gaze never leaving Zara. The cosmic core. But its use has been forbidden for generations. The risks are less than the certainty of extinction if we do nothing, Zara finished. She stepped closer to Krell, close enough to see the faint iridescence of his skin. Sometimes you have to take a leap of faith. For a moment, the universe seemed to hold its breath. Then Krell nodded. Prepare the cosmic core, he commanded. What followed was a blur of activity. Zara worked alongside the Thalari scientists, marveling at the device they called the cosmic core. It pulsed with an otherworldly energy that made her skin tingle. As they integrated the core with their drone swarms, Zara explained her plan. We'll create a quantum bridge between each drone and a fragment of the asteroid cluster. Then, using the core's energy, would attempt to phase shift the fragments out of normal space-time. Into where? Zara asked, her voice hushed with awe and trepidation. Zara managed a wry smile. That's the exciting part. We don't know. Another dimension, perhaps, or scattered across the universe. The important thing is, they won't be here. As the moment of truth approached, an unexpected calm settled over Zara. She stood before the control panel, Krell at her side. Their eyes met, and a wealth of unspoken emotions passed between them. Whatever happens, Krell said softly, know that you have given my people hope. You have given me. He trailed off, seemingly at a loss for words. Zara reached out, her hand hovering near his. After a moment's hesitation, Krell took it, their fingers intertwining in a bridge between species. Together, Zara said. Krell nodded, together. With her free hand, Zara activated the cosmic core. The universe seemed to hold its breath. For one terrifying moment, nothing happened. Then, the view screens erupted with light. The asteroid fragments flickered, shimmered, and began to disappear one by one. A cheer went up from the Thalari around them, but Zara hardly noticed. Her attention was fixed on the redouts, watching as the threat to this world she'd come to care for vanished into the quantum unknown. As the last fragment disappeared, Zara let out a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. She turned to Krell, a smile of disbelief and joy spreading across her face. But her celebration was cut short. Alarms blared, and the command center shook violently. The core, Zara shouted. It's destabilizing. Zara's blood ran cold as she realized the implications. The energy release from an unstable cosmic core could devastate half the planet. Without thinking, she rushed to the core's housing, Krell right behind her. We need to contain it, she shouted over the rising whine of the device. How? Krell demanded. Zara's mind raced. A quantum bottle, she said. If we can invert the entanglement field, create a self-contained loop. Understanding dawned in Krell's eyes. It could work, but the radiation exposure would be fatal, Zara finished. She met Krell's gaze, seeing her own resolve mirrored there. I'll do it. No, Krell said firmly. This is my world, my responsibility. Our world, Zara corrected. Our responsibility. For a heartbeat, they stared at each other. Then, moving as one, they reached for the controls. The next few moments were a blur of searing pain and blinding light. Zara felt as if she were being torn apart and remade at the subatomic level. Through it all, she clung to Krell's hand, their fingers intertwined as they had been at the start of this mad gambit. When the light faded and the pain subsided, Zara found herself still standing, still whole. Beside her, Krell looked equally shocked to be alive. Zara's voice, filled with awe, broke the silence. It's stabilized, you did it. But how are you still alive? Zara looked down at her hands, then at Krell. A faint glow seemed to emanate from their skin, pulsing in perfect synchronization. The entanglement, Krell breathed. It didn't just affect the core, it affected us. As the implications of what had happened sank in, Zara felt a mix of terror and exhilaration. She and Krell were now linked in ways that defied the laws of physics as either of their species understood them. "What does this mean?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Krell's large eyes met hers, filled with wonder and something deeper. "It means, Zara of Earth, that our destinies are now eternally intertwined. And perhaps this is just the beginning." As they stood there, quantum-entangled human and Velari, Zara realized that they had not just saved a world, they had changed the course of 2 civilizations and possibly the entire galaxy. The asteroid threat was gone, but a new journey was just beginning. One that would challenge everything both their species thought they knew about the universe and their place in it. And as Zara looked into Krell's eyes, feeling the pulse of their shared quantum bond, she knew that whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. Human and Velari, forever linked by science, circumstance, and perhaps something even deeper, a cosmic love that transcended the boundaries of space, time, and species. Galactic awakening. The news of the quantum entanglement between Zara and Krell spread across the Velari homeworld like wildfire. What had begun as a desperate attempt to save a planet had become a phenomenon that challenged the very foundations of both human and Velari understanding of the universe. Zara stood before a massive holographic display, her eyes wide with wonder. The quantum link between her and Krell had unlocked something far greater than either of them could have imagined. They could now perceive the fabric of space-time itself, seeing the intricate web of quantum connections that bound the cosmos together. "It's beautiful," she breathed, her voice filled with awe. Krell nodded, his alien features softened by the same sense of wonder. "And terrifying," he added. "We've tapped into something beyond our comprehension." As they stood there, marveling at the cosmic tapestry before them, an alarm suddenly blared through the command center. Zara rushed in, her lavender skin pale with urgency. "Commander Zara," she gasped, "you need to see this." With a wave of her hand, Zara brought up a new holographic display. It showed a massive surge of energy, unlike anything they had ever seen before, rippling across the galaxy. "What is that?" Zara asked, her scientific curiosity overriding her initial shock. Zara's voice trembled as she replied, "We believe it's a cascade effect from your quantum entanglement. It's awakening dormant connections across the galaxy. Ancient technologies are activating, long-lost species are emerging from stasis. It's as if the entire galaxy is waking up." Krell's eyes widened. "The precursors," he whispered. Zara turned to him confused. "The who?" "An ancient race," Krell explained, his voice filled with a mix of reverence and fear. "They were said to have seeded life throughout the galaxy eons ago, leaving behind technology beyond our comprehension. But they vanished, leaving only myths and ruins. Until now." As if on cue, the holographic display shifted, showing massive structures emerging from the hearts of distant stars, cosmic megastructures beyond anything Zara had ever imagined. "Dyson spheres," she gasped. "Matryoshka brains. They're real." Krell nodded grimly. "And they're reactivating. Our quantum link has triggered a galactic renaissance, but not all that awakens will be benevolent." As if to underscore his point, another alarm sounded. This time, the display showed a massive fleet of ships, unlike any Velari or human design, emerging from a nearby nebula. "The swarm," Vaxura said, her voice barely above a whisper. "A hive mind species we thought were just legends. They've awoken, and they're heading straight for us." Zara felt a chill run down her spine. In trying to save one world, they had unknowingly set in motion events that would reshape the entire galaxy. The fate of not just the Velari, but countless species now hung in the balance. She turned to Krell, seeing her own determination reflected in his alien eyes. "What do we do?" she asked. Krell's response was immediate and unwavering. "We face it. Together." Over the next few days, Zara and Krell worked tirelessly to understand and harness their new quantum abilities. They discovered they could instantaneously communicate across vast distances, share thoughts and memories, and even manipulate the fabric of space-time on a small scale. As the swarm approached, they put their newfound powers to the test. Using their quantum link, they reached out to the newly awakened species across the galaxy, sending a call for unity in the face of the coming storm. The response was beyond anything they could have hoped for. Ships began arriving from all corners of the galaxy, sleek vessels of crystalline energy from the Luminians, organic high ships of the Zoe Collective, even massive planet-sized vessels of the reclusive Titan nomads. As this unprecedented armada assembled around the Valari homeworld, Zara and Krell stood at its heart, their quantum bond pulsing with the combined hopes and fears of a galaxy on the brink of transformation. The swarm arrived in a terrifying wave of biomechanical horror, their hive mind focused on consuming all in their path. But they found not a helpless prey, but a united galaxy standing against them. The battle that followed was beyond epic. Zara and Krell, their consciousness expanded by the quantum link, coordinated the combined fleets with impossible precision. Ships danced between stars, weapons of unimaginable power clashed, and the very fabric of space-time rippled with the intensity of the conflict. In the heart of the maelstrom, Zara had an epiphany. "The quantum web," she gasped, turning to Krell. "We can use it to communicate with the swarm." Understanding dawned in Krell's eyes. Together, they reached out through the quantum connections, touching the alien consciousness of the swarm. What they found there was not the mindless hunger they expected, but a deep cosmic loneliness, a species so ancient and isolated that it had forgotten how to coexist with others. With compassion born from their shared bond, Zara and Krell offered the swarm a choice: continue their path of destruction, or join the galactic community reborn through the quantum awakening. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, the battle hung in the balance. Then, slowly, miraculously, the swarm began to withdraw. Their ships, once instruments of terror, began to transform, taking on new forms as the hive mind embraced a new purpose. As the dust of battle settled, Zara and Krell found themselves at the center of a transformed galaxy. The quantum awakening had not just averted a crisis, it had ushered in a new age of cooperation and discovery. Representatives from thousands of species gathered on the Valari homeworld, eager to share knowledge and forge new alliances. The precursor technologies, now reactivated, offered solutions to problems that had plagued civilizations for eons. And at the heart of it all, the unlikely union of a human explorer and a Valari commander stood as a symbol of the boundless potential of cooperation. Zara gazed out at the assembled beings, her hand intertwined with Krell's, their quantum bond a constant reminder of the incredible journey that had brought them to this point. "What happens now?" she asked, her voice filled with wonder at the limitless possibilities before them. Krell's response was simple, yet filled with the weight of infinite potential. "Now, my love, we explore the cosmos as it was always meant to be explored, united, curious, and free." As they stood there, human and Valari, their bond a bridge between worlds, Zara realized that their adventure was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. The galaxy had awakened, and with it, a new chapter in the cosmic story had begun, one that would be written by all species together. The quantum entanglement that had started as a desperate bid to save a single world had become the key to unlocking the true potential of life in the universe. And as Zara looked into Krell's eyes, she knew that whatever wonders or challenges lay ahead, they would face them as they had faced everything else, together, their love a force as powerful and eternal as the cosmos itself, the cosmic nexus. As the galactic renaissance flourished, Zara and Krell found themselves at the center of a new cosmic order. Their quantum bond had evolved, allowing them to tap into the very essence of the universe itself. They had become living conduits of cosmic energy, their every thought rippling across the fabric of space-time. The Eternal Ones, whispered beings from 1,000 worlds, their voices filled with awe and reverence. But with great power came great responsibility, and the weight of it pressed heavily on both Zara and Krell. One cycle, as they meditated in the newly constructed quantum nexus, a massive space station at the heart of the galactic community, Zara felt a disturbance in the cosmic web. "Krell," she said, her voice echoing with otherworldly resonance, "do you feel that?" Krell's alien features contorted in concentration. "Yes," he replied, his own voice carrying the same ethereal quality. "A tear in the quantum fabric. But where?" They reached out with their enhanced senses, their consciousness expanding across light years in an instant. There, at the edge of known space, they found it, a rift in reality itself, pulsing with chaotic energy. "The void breach," Zara breathed, the words carrying a weight of cosmic significance. Alerts blared across the quantum nexus as the rift expanded, threatening to engulf entire star systems. Representatives from the United Galactic Council gathered, their faces etched with concern. "Eternal Ones," spoke Axdara, now the Velari ambassador to the Council, "what can be done?" Zara and Krell exchanged a look, their quantum bond allowing for instantaneous communication. They knew what had to be done, but the cost would be unimaginable. "We must seal the breach," Krell announced, his voice resolute. "But to do so," Zara continued, "we'll need to harness the power of a cosmic singularity." Gasps echoed through the council chamber. A cosmic singularity, the heart of a supermassive black hole, was not something to be trifled with lightly. "The risks," began one counselor, but Zara cut them off. "Are nothing compared to the certainty of cosmic annihilation if we do nothing," she said firmly. As the council debated, Zara and Krell prepared for their most daring mission yet. They boarded the Quantum Voyager, a ship of their own design that could traverse the fabric of space-time itself. The journey to the nearest cosmic singularity was instantaneous for them, but fraught with peril. As they approached the event horizon, reality itself began to warp and twist. "Ready?" Krell asked, his hand intertwining with Zara's. She nodded, her eyes reflecting the swirling chaos of the black hole before them. "Always." Together, they reached out with their quantum-enhanced minds, touching the very heart of the singularity. The power that flooded through them was beyond description, the fundamental forces of the universe made manifest. With this cosmic energy coursing through their bond, Zara and Krell turned their attention to the void breach. They could see it clearly now, a wound in the universe, leaking chaos and unreality into ordered space. "Now," Zara cried, and together they unleashed the power of the singularity. The universe itself seemed to hold its breath as order and chaos clashed on a cosmic scale. Zara and Krell stood at the center of it all, their quantum bond the linchpin holding reality together. For what seemed like an eternity, they struggled against the forces threatening to tear the universe apart. Their minds expanded beyond the confines of physical form, becoming one with the cosmic tapestry itself. And then, with a soundless thunderclap that echoed across dimensions, the breach sealed. As the cosmic energies dissipated, Zara and Krell found themselves forever changed. They were no longer merely conduits of cosmic power. They had become living embodiments of the universe's fundamental forces. When they returned to the quantum nexus, the gathered species gasped in awe. Zara and Krell glowed with inner light, their forms shifting and flowing like living constellations. The cosmic avatars, murmured the assembled beings, sinking to their knees in reverence. But Zara and Krell paid no heed to their new titles or the worship directed their way. Their focus was on each other, and the bond that had carried them through impossible odds. "What now?" Zara asked, her voice carrying the whisper of solar winds and the rumble of colliding galaxies. Krell's reply came not in words, but in a burst of shared cosmic understanding. They saw infinite possibilities stretching out before them, new dimensions to explore, cosmic mysteries to unravel, and most importantly, a chance to guide the united species of the galaxy towards a brighter future. As they stood there, no longer merely human and Velari, But something transcendent, Zara and Krell, knew that their greatest adventure was just beginning. The cosmos itself was their new frontier, and together, they would journey into the unknown, their love a beacon of hope for all of creation. The assembled beings of the United Galactic Council watched in wonder as Zara and Krell, the cosmic avatars, ascended into the stars, their forms merging with the very fabric of space-time. And though they had become something beyond mortal comprehension, the love that had started it all, between a human explorer and an alien commander, remained at the heart of their cosmic dance. As they disappeared into the infinite expanse, a sense of peace and possibility settled over the gathered species. The age of cosmic awakening had truly begun, guided by the eternal bond of two beings who had dared to bridge the gap between worlds. And so, the greatest love story in the universe continued, written across the stars themselves, a testament to the power of connection, courage, and the enduring spirit of exploration that united all sentient beings in the vast, wondrous cosmos.